Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. Another video brought to you by Building Block Construction and Sophisticated and Swanky, our two generous sponsors. This video is going to be CBR number 4. And yes, I'm like a month behind on videos. Just got so many videos to get out and we've been racing so much. It's just kind of hard to get them out in a timely manner. So anyway, this is the women's P123 race. I think we have 3 women in this race. Got Anastasia up there, you can see to the right, Alexa, and the camera angle is Marlena's, kind of normal. Marlena's usually on the camera in the P123 races. So yeah, it's been a while, so I don't remember all the stuff that happened in this race. The main thing I do remember, though, is teamwork. And that's one of the big themes of our team. And, it's going to be displayed here. Everyone knows Marlena is one of our strongest riders. And she's also going to show that she's one of our, best teammates as well. Not showing any selfishness in this race. So she's going to definitely commit to helping her team. So anyway, this is the Carson side, and they're going counterclockwise. This side here is usually in a pretty stiff headwind here. It usually comes off the right side, and it's all uphill. It's kind of like a false flat. The gradient showing some minuses in there, but for the most part, it's all uphill. Same here, you turn the corner here. That was turn 3, and it's kind of false flat again. And then after you turn the corner on turn 4, it's back to another false flat. And so about 3/4 of this course is slightly uphill. And, then there's, 1/4 that is just completely steep downhill. And that's like the fastest corner going into turn 2. Turn 1 to turn 2, that's pretty much the fastest section of the course. Yeah, so I think the ladies are racing for 50 minutes today. We've been having a decent sized field this year. The fields aren't super large, but they've been about hovering around 20 riders, for the most part for every race. So it'd be good to get more women out here. I know a couple years ago we had some fields over 40, and that's kind of that's always exciting to see such a large women's field. But we haven't had that this year. Both the 3, 4, 5 races and the P123 races, they've been right at about 20-ish riders for both fields all year. Got to get some more women out here. So here's the fastest part of the course here. That's downhill. That's the fastest turn there. They're not going that fast right now, but that is the fastest part of the course there. And then going this direction, this little hump here is probably the steepest part. So there you see Holly Breck from DNA taking a flyer there. You got Colleen Gullick chasing it. And then Marlena accelerates here and puts in a hard effort. She doesn't exactly fully jump on it, and I don't think she exactly wanted to either, but she does pick up the pace and going to try to slot back in as soon as she can. It's also been a big theme of this year's racing with the women's races, in both fields. There's just been a lot of attacks this year. So you can see here, definitely have the speed up. The finish here is a pretty good uphill finish too. It's only roughly 1% or so, but still, at the end of a race and you've been, coming up that false flat for a while, it does tax the legs, and it's a pretty hard finish at during the last lap or two. So Marlena's stuck a little bit here, chasing the break. She's going to do a good job of running it down, though. At least I think so. It's a dangerous group up there. A lot of fast women in that break. Looks like 6 riders, but they're definitely not trying to get away. They're not working together or anything. But that definitely is a dangerous group that could get away. Yeah, you see, you got Holly, Camilla, Colleen, and then there's one of the mommies off the right side. Kind of looked like Feline, but I'm not sure if that was her or not. You know, the mommies have like some pretty consistent like prototype riders. You know, they're all, you know, like strong, athletic build. They all have like that long power to kind of get away. And I shouldn't say all. I'm just saying in general, like the ones that kind of do these attacks and break away a lot. You know, they're definitely built for power, and they all are fit. So I'm definitely trying to give you a compliment. So please, no one take it the wrong way. You got Camilla and Ari right here in front of Marlena to the right there. And I think that's Morgan right next to her. Looks like the other Morgan from CFT goes by, and Anya on her wheel. And then there goes Holly trying to bridge to that. And you see how Holly like put in a hard effort. She didn't, you know, just go by gradually. She doesn't want to exactly pull the entire team, so she put in a little attack. And you do that typically when you're trying to bridge and not let others come with you. There's Jules and Anastasia pulling up here. I don't know if Marlena was gassed a little bit there just from being on the front. You can see her heart rate's pretty high. So, you know, anytime you're above 190 or right at 190, it's a pretty high heart rate. Even though her heart rate does go above 200, so it's not like she's maxed out. Yeah, I can't remember how many riders were in this field, but it's definitely a big field. I can't even remember who won this race. That's what happens when you get behind in races. And I didn't watch it. You know, the races are too long to go back and watch and try to pick out all the highlights. That just takes too much time for me. Okay, so it looks like Marlena recovered a little bit now, down in the 180s, lower 180s. She's been eating a lot of wind though, this last like half a lap, just kind of riding off to the side a little bit. And that's Morgan from CFT there, and I think this was Morgan, this might have been Morgan's first P123 race. I think she just catted up to Cat 3. Ooh, that was a little sketch there. Don't get me started talking about cornering like I always do, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why you don't want to take too early of an apex, because there's nowhere to go really, and you're just really at a bad angle there. Not only can you not turn left because you can hit the curve, but it forces you to the right where you can run across other riders. So I'm not going to preach about it. If you watch my channel, then you've heard me say it 1,000 times. So we'll move on from that one. And there's Felicia to the left there with CFT. Felicia's been riding really well this year as well. I think all the women have been riding pretty good. I know that's kind of like, you know, I don't know what to call it. It's kind of everyone gets a trophy to say, you know, that's kind of one of those everyone gets a trophy phrases, but that's not what I mean by it. I just honestly, I think the girls that are still racing right now, most of them been racing for a few years. They've been consistently out here, and you can tell the level of racing has been elevated because of that. It's not just new faces every time. Yes, we'd like to see a lot of new faces, but a lot of these riders that are out there, these are the girls that are out here every week for the last few years, and they just have a lot more experience now, and they kind of have grown into the racer that they are. Like they kind of know themselves. They know what their strengths and weaknesses are. So it definitely just elevates the entire field. And there's Alexa to the right in there with the blue canyon. All right, now we're down to group ride pace. I think Marlena just accelerates a little bit here just to kind of be first through the turn. You know, at this speed, the turn's not that big of a deal, but on this course, that is where all the crashes pretty much happen. No matter which direction you go, for the most part, that's where the crashes happen in that turn. It's either turn 3 going one way or it's turn 2 going the other direction. And there's Holly attacking at the same spot again. As you notice, when Holly attacks, she goes all the way to the left. I don't know her exact thinking, but one of the reasons is the wind is coming off the right. So anyone trying to, well, 2 reasons. One, she's separated from the peloton because the peloton's over to the right a little bit. So if you're going to try to jump on that, you're going to have to use energy just closing that distance, not only to her attack, but to the line that she's on. Number 2, anyone that's over to the right side, they're eating a lot of wind. So they're not going to get any wind protection from her or being able to go left of her. And 3, she only has to look out for riders on one side of her. That's India there. India's had a good year as well. She's racked up a couple wins, I think, this year. Been really strong. Yeah, you see Camilla and Alexa up there. Alexa's jumped on Camilla's wheel. Don't know who they're chasing. Looks like one of the mommies. But my eyes could deceive me. Because now that's starting to look a little red up there. I can't really tell. I don't know if that's a Lagrange kit. Maybe a Lagrange kit. It may be Morgan that went after a Preem the lap before and just kind of rolled off. Just kind of kept rolling through. I think that is Morgan. Yeah, they've been having a lot of Preems, a lot of back-to-back Preems. Just kind of spices things up a little bit. Morgan's another person that's been racing well this year. I think she has a win. She's been competitive in all the sprints. You know, I know just talking to her, she's looking forward to, you know, track nationals, and just being on the track is the thing that I believe she likes the most. But definitely has been having a good year. You can tell she's sprinting well. Had a couple podiums, things like that. So she's always a factor at the end of a race. All right, so Marlena jumped out of the wind here and kind of sitting third wheel. That's Alexa in front of her. Alexa's super smart. Love having her on the team. Just a really good racer, really consistent. So yeah, the pace is down again. I mean, Camilla's at front, just setting a little tempo, but she's not going hard or anything. It's just, you know, the pace is just kind of down again. But, you know, I've talked about it before, and I talk about it a lot, but anytime the pace slows down, someone's going to attack. So we know the last 2 laps, Holly's attacked on the left side here. So, yeah, let's see if they're, if you know, third time's a charm. See if she's going to go off again. Definitely the pace is definitely slow right now, though. So I'm sure someone's thinking about launching. Yeah, so I don't know if Marlena wants, if she's inviting someone to take over because she's eating a little wind, but she's a little wide for the speed she's going. So I'm assuming she just doesn't want to be on the front here, and it's kind of slowing down, just not trying to slow down too much, but just kind of riding tempo, and hopefully someone will come by and give her a little break. I'll probably yell at her when if I'm on the side of the road here, I'll probably yell at her to get off the front pretty soon. Yeah, and there's Holly again with an attack. So, like I said, anytime the pace is slow, someone's going to attack. Holly just picked a different place to attack this time, which is kind of what I prefer, and I don't mean as me, because that's just not in my wheelhouse at the moment. But when the people I coach or teach or whatever, I try to get them to attack when there's a change of speed. So, and Holly did that time. You have the little false flat at the start-finish line, and then it's going to change to a really fast downhill here. And you can catch people out that way. You can get a little gap, and you can catch them out with that change of speed. And I mean a change of speed by the terrain, not by your physical effort. But obviously you're going to attack, so that's going to take physical effort. But if you attack like at the top of a hill where it's going to go from slow to fast, things like that, that's what I mean by a change of speed. When the course is going to naturally change speed by the gradient change. Or if it's a headwind change, or headwind going into a tailwind, things like that. I believe that's Feline there putting in a little attack. And I'd say it's definitely attack because Marlena was at 500 watts. So CBR is pretty wide also. Yeah, there's nothing tight here at all. The roads are really wide. You can afford to take multiple lines. So yeah, it's not like, there's nothing wrong with the roads. It's not the roads. You know, sometimes people say it's really dangerous at CBR, but most time, honestly, I just think because it's a popular course for the most part. It's been out here for a long time. A lot of racers come out because a lot of people are in the LA area. So I just think the numbers are high. People race it all the time. There's going to be crashes here and there, but it's not the course itself that's dangerous or anything like that. Now I'm second guessing myself. I don't think, oh yeah, that is Feline. I think that's her bike. Yeah, it's funny, like the fastest part of the course here, and it's all downhill, but it seems like they've been going the slowest on this portion of the course. Ooh, Camilla's on a super tight line there. So this is what I like to see. I like to see Marlena tucked in a little better here, saving some energy. And it's okay to be a little bit offset here because, like I said, the wind typically comes off the right side. But I think sometimes just a little too much work going back to the front again. Especially if the pace is slow like this, just go ahead and stay out of the wind. And there's Holly again. So if you look at the pattern, Holly attacked twice on the back straight and twice on the front straight now. She did 2 laps in a row on the back straight, maybe just testing the waters, and then 2 laps in a row now on the front straight. And I think Marlena gets caught out a little bit there, makes her put in a little harder effort than she should have or could have. But yeah, being on the front when the attack happens, you're kind of the last one to know about it. and by the time they pass you, their momentum's up so high. So it makes it kind of hard to jump on that from the very front. Makes it a little easier if you're sitting back fourth, fifth wheel. But right when you're on the very front, you're pretty much the last person to know about it. And there's another counterattack there. All right, so someone else is chasing this time. You got India up there chasing with Alexa on her wheel. Yeah, Alexa is super efficient. She's pretty much never, she's never in the wind too much, which is a good thing. You want to use other people's energy as much as possible. Use your energy when you need to or have to, or, just as long as it's calculated, as long as it's going to benefit you or your teammate, that's when you want to use your energy. You don't just use energy just to do it. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but, some people... I was talking to someone the other day, and they had asked me like what my power was in the race, and I told them my power was only like 200 and something watts. Like I want to say it was maybe like 225 or something like that, and they were a little surprised, and they said, "What would I want it to be?" And I told them I'd want it to be lower, and they were a little surprised that I said I'd want to do lower power. And yeah, in a race, you want the easiest time as possible in a race. You want high power numbers in training, obviously, because you're trying to stimulate adaptations, depending on what type of training you're doing. But I'm just saying in general, yeah, you want to hit great power numbers in training, but you want to win the race at the easiest output possible, because obviously that gives you more energy if you have to use it. So even if you go 90% of the race, using very little energy, then you have the last 10% of the race to use all that energy you saved. But a lot of people think, it's a flex to say they average like super high watts during a race. But typically the person that averages all those high watts doesn't, win or come in a very good place. And it's the same with me. I haven't even won a race, but every time I race fairly well, my numbers are low. Anytime I do not do well, I have very high power in the race. And some people would think it's the opposite, but no, that's why it is, because obviously a hard race, you're working too hard, whatever the case may be, and you don't have the energy by the time, the end of the race comes around. And the lower your power, obviously you have energy left over for those last few laps. And that doesn't apply to people that are breakaway, when you're riding solo, things like that. When you're trying to be a breakaway rider, or if you're riding in a break, of course you're going to have a little bit higher power than someone that's sitting in a little bit. So yeah, Marlena definitely has to find a way to tuck in here somewhere. You got to get out of the wind. 280 is a lot of watts, It's not a lot for a short period of time, and Marlena's super strong, but it does tax you. She's not going to do 280 for the rest of the race. We're at about the halfway point of the race, so she's not going to do 280 for the rest of the race. But anytime you're above threshold, it takes a lot out of you. So you want to spend as much time possible below threshold during a race, or doing any type of competitive group rides. Other than training, if that's your goal, to train and to put in some hard efforts, But in the race, you want to spend as much time as possible below threshold. You know, it's kind of funny, just thinking of power. You know, when you watch like right now, while I'm recording this, like the Giro d'Italia is on. They have maybe a couple days left, but sometimes they'll show the power of the riders in the peloton when they're riding in the peloton, and they're flying, they're going really fast. But sometimes they'll show the power, and a guy that's tucked in, he's sometimes doing 150 watts. You know, and of course, everybody in this race can do 150 watts, but it's not that. It's that they're in the right position. They're in the right spot. And, you know, they'll do stuff like that. I forgot what a race it was, but I know when they were showing somebody's power numbers, and it was like for the first hour, he averaged under 200 watts. And this is in a, you know, in a World Tour level race. And his first hour was under 200 watts. He was averaging, I want to say it was like 150, 160 or something, just being tucked in the peloton. Now, overall, the power was a lot higher than that, because obviously once the climbs come and the attacks come and all that, but just being tucked in the peloton, doing 30-ish miles per hour, he was averaging 150-ish watts. So it just shows like how big of a difference it makes when you're tucked in good position and using someone else's energy. Definitely got some attacks going here. Looks like 4 riders up the road. All right, there goes India and Ari going by. So yeah, just I don't know, it's kind of interesting to me that this is always the fastest part of the circuit. They're going the slowest. You know, the group's going the slowest on the fastest part of the circuit pretty consistently. Almost every lap, they're going the slowest here, and this is the fastest part of the circuit. Again, you guys got to be careful over there hugging the inside of that turn really tight. It's not where you want to be. And trust me, at higher speeds, that will cause an incident. But I think that's Monique Snyder's right there in front of Marlena. Monique's a good sprinter as well. Rides on the track a lot. Yeah, like I said, I think our level of racing, the women's level of racing, has definitely been elevated, I think, over the last couple years. There's just a lot of, you know, everybody's stronger. There's a lot of strong women in the field. Pretty much everyone I name is a strong rider and has a chance to win this race, you know. And most of them have won a race, you know. It just shows you like how competitive the field is. And honestly, just racing is hard, and to win a bike race for any of us that haven't won a bike race, just to win a bike race is pretty elusive, you know. I've said this stat before, but I remember GCN released a stat a couple years ago, and it's something like only 5% of racers ever win a race, and only 3% win more than once. Now that's probably like at the pro level, but even that, if you think about all the hundreds of thousands of racers that have raced over the years, only 5% ever win one time. and only 3% win more than once. All right, definitely got some games playing here. And like I said, the wind comes off the right. So if you're hugging the left side like that, anybody that's on this right side is going to have to do a little more watts just because they're getting hit by wind. But the speed's pretty slow now, so that attack didn't last too long. You know, I can't help but say it. I'm so late on this video, but that's Anya in front of Marlena right there in the SDVC kit. And Anya got a big win this last weekend. You know, like I said, I'm about a month behind. So at Hunt Parkway, though, Anya got a big win, you know, kind of catching a slingshot off of Colleen going up the hill. It's an uphill finish, and it was kind of into a headwind. So she kind of got a slingshot off of Colleen and a bike throw at the line, and she ends up winning her first pro race. So, you know, I don't really know if it's appropriate for me to mention it in this video since, you know, it's kind of like a spoiler alert, but, you know, I'm all out of whack with the sequencing of when I'm releasing videos. So I just have so many of the women's videos. It's hard to get through them, you know, in a week. And by the next week, we're racing again. And if I have a chance, I put that current week's video out. I'm putting this one out because I've had some downtime and Ellen's out of state right now. She's in Oregon, so I don't have her to do the commentary for the Hunt Parkway videos. So yeah, I decided to throw this one out, and hopefully when Ellen gets back, I'll throw out the Hunt Parkway video. And of course, by then we'll race 2 more times. That's Emmy in front of Marlena there. And Emmy's moved up, I think, just this year. I think this year she moved up to Cat 3. She started this season off, I think, still as a Cat 4. And then moved up this, sometimes early in the season to Cat 3. So it's funny that it's pretty stretched out here, even though the speed is kind of low. You know, when it's been fast, they've come through here at about 27 miles per hour, and right now it was down to 22, down to 21, now 20. So it's just a little funny that it was stretched out. There's Jade. Once again, I sound like a broken record. Jade's had a strong year also, a couple wins earlier in the season. Yeah, she's been competitive in the P123 races as well. I can't remember if she's had a couple podiums this year or not, but I know she had a couple wins earlier in the season. I think 2 back-to-back in the 3, 4, 5 category, Rosina Ranch, and then one of the CBRs. So definitely riding well. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure somebody's going to attack again. This speed's been low for half a lap now. It's kind of like the quiet before the storm. With this camera angle, this the road looks really steep right here. You know, I always wear the camera on the top of my head. I know it's not the most aero, it's just the view that I like. There's Holly again. Like I said, somebody's going to attack. But yeah, coming around that turn 4 there, the road looks really uphill there, even though it's only 1-2%. All right, you can see how fast the speed got up from 20 miles per hour. Now they're up to 30 miles per hour here. It's how it should be pretty much every lap. Like, this should be the fastest portion of the circuit here, and they should be over 30 miles per hour on this downhill most of the time. But for some reason they let up and everyone comes through this corner kind of slow. I know I keep saying it, but I'm just really surprised it hasn't sunk in yet that like this corner is being taken so slow here, especially because it magnifies your effort. So if you take this corners faster, then this little hill becomes nothing here. But if you take it slow, then you got to kind of do heavier watts to go up this little hill. Obviously, unless everybody just goes really slow, kind of like they're doing now at 18 miles per hour. I want to say on my race when we did this, you know, circuit going this direction, we averaged either 26 or 27 miles per hour. And yeah, a lot of it has to do with just holding that momentum, coming down that fast part of the hill and just holding the momentum up the false flats. And of course, we have a much bigger peloton, so it's a lot easier to carry speed when you're racing with 70 guys opposed to 20. You can see Felicia sitting second wheel, just nice and relaxed, just sit in, not using any energy. You know, it's good to see people, dang, there's Holly again. So yeah, so you see the pattern, and when you race, those are some things that you gotta anticipate. So yeah, there's been 2 attack spots, the backside and this front side here. And I think basically Holly's attacked 5 or 6 times, you know, 2 or 3 on the backside, 2, 3, 4 on the front side. So we really just need to start anticipating a little bit better. Everyone should be anticipating it. Everyone should be watching for it. I mean, you're more than halfway through the race now, so it shouldn't come to a surprise to anyone when the speed's low and where they're going to attack. So speed low, you know an attack's coming, and by now you should know where the attack's coming from or what part of the course that someone's going to attack on. And one of the mommies is pretty much countered right after Holly's attacks. So that should be something you should be ready for as well. So yeah, both the Chin sisters have been sprinting really well this year. Um, you know, I just kind of gave away that Anya got a win at Hunt Parkway, but even before that, you know, I think she was second place at Tour de Marietta, and on day 2, Tour de Marietta, I think Ari was second on day 1, Tour de Marietta, with both, you know, good sprint finishes. So definitely both of them have a little bit of pop to them. And they're both really smart riders, been racing for a while now. I think when you start off racing at a young age, it helps you so much because positioning is so important when you're small. And I don't mean small just in stature, but when you're young and you're riding with older people that are typically stronger than you, stuff like that. Not to mention they punch a bigger hole in the wind. So you learn to position yourself really well, really being able to save energy, carry speed at a, you know, a lower wattage, things like that. And also just, you know, a couple years back when they had junior gearing and everybody was on a small ring and you have to spin really well. I just think all of that helps you become a, you know, a smarter, more seasoned racer, especially with positioning and being able to conserve some energy. I forgot the young lady's name right here, and I tried to look up the results, but I can't find them. But yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think you know, Marlena and the girls raced against her last year at Boise, and I think they were with I think it was Gene Johnson Cycling, but I believe they got a new sponsor this year. So definitely good to see her coming out and do some Southern California racing. You know, I talked to her and she just said, yeah, she likes to come out here and, you know, just for the kind of like the fast crits and prepare for some of her local racing, stuff like that. So hopefully we'll see her in Boise again. We'll be headed there in a couple weeks, or actually in about a month. Tulsa Tough first, and then Boise after that. Those are two of our remaining target races. And that's Camilo right there in front of Marlena to the right in the LABA kit. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, on the last couple of laps, how fast we take this section here. I say we, but how fast you all take this section here. Yeah, I just can't imagine that it remains this way the entire race. But I guess I said everybody else should be used to it by now. I should be used to it as well. All right, that was pretty good anticipation that time by Marlena, just knowing someone was going to go. She didn't exactly jump on it, though. She hesitated, so it's kind of like, I don't know, a little bit of wasted watts, you know, going medium instead of jumping on that wheel. But, yeah, but you can tell she did know it was coming. You know, she kind of anticipated and knew it was coming. Let's see if we can get a picture of the flag. I think one of these buildings have a flag once you're going down the front straight here. Like I said, it was pretty windy, especially on that backside. It's always windy, but just the type of trees and stuff, it's hard to tell that there's wind when we're watching the video. So I think there's a flag up here to the right somewhere. Usually on the top of one of these buildings, there's a flag. Try to see if we can see how strong the wind is at the moment. Definitely only have a couple laps to go. There's a flag there to the right. And yeah, it's not too bad on this side right now. I mean, it's gusting, but it doesn't look too bad. Guessing there's probably 3 laps left in the race. Felicia's looking around, so she doesn't want to be on front. Morgan comes out to take over, which again is good teamwork. I know she knew Felicia didn't want to be on the front, so Morgan comes up to the front and sets the pace. Everybody's looking around anticipating that attack. So you can tell people have been paying attention. They know every time there's been an attack here. So they're kind of looking around, head on a swivel, making sure no one attacks. Felicia is definitely nervous. She keeps looking to the right. I don't know who's on her right, but she definitely thinks someone's coming. It's almost in rhythm. It's like 1, 2, 3, look. 1, 2, 3, look. 1, 2, 3, look. Yeah, so that's definitely a sign of, hey, we don't really want to be here. We know we're not going that fast, but we don't really want to be this far up front. Man, you see that flag there was definitely stiff. So the wind's picked up. That flag right there by the scorer's table, the officials table, that flag was straight out. So yeah, it's definitely gusting wind right now. Yeah, so nobody wants to come to the front with only a couple laps left to go. So you got CFT kind of stuck on the front. So here, it would definitely be like a straight headwind here. And with the street and the buildings on the side, it kind of funnels the wind like straight through there. All right, so Feline comes to the front. Pauline's trying to stay near the front. You know, she doesn't want anyone to get away with 2 laps to go. That's part of the problem, like when things are slow like this. Like, you definitely don't want someone that's strong to get a flyer with only 2 laps to go. They can be pretty hard to catch. This is one of the main reasons why, you know, larger teams have lead outs, is to keep the pace fast enough to deter anyone from attacking. So yeah, this is going into the last lap, and Marlena shoots up the inside here because she's gonna try to lead out Alexa. Now the only thing here is she goes a little early. So we had talked about different places to go if you're gonna do a lead out and stuff like that, but she goes a little early, especially with the wind. Like I said, it's really gusting. I couldn't see the flag that time right there, but it's really gusting. She has the speed up really well though. They're at 30 miles per hour. But it's just a little too far to go. And, you know, there's a couple things she can do here. Obviously, she can kind of shut it down and go again. But once she committed, she was committed. So, and it's a great job because, like I said, we know Marlene is one of the strongest riders on our team. She could be worried about herself, trying to get like her own high finish. But, you know, the plan was trying to lead out Alexa, and that's what she did. So it would have been a lot better if the lead out would have started right here, maybe on this turn, and she'd only have to go 2 corners. But, you know, since it started basically after turn 3 is where she started using her energy. Like here, you can tell she's fading a little bit already. So she did a great job of picking up the pace. It just turns out that, you know, Alexa's about 6 wheel now, which is fine, but it was just a little too early, and Alexa spent a little bit of energy also, just a little bit too early there. So, but the point here is just teamwork. You know, like I said, as a strong rider like Marlena, she could be trying to get a top 5 or, you know, a top 6, top 10 finish or whatever for herself. And we all know she's strong enough to do it. But, you know, our team is about teamwork. We're about sacrifice. We're about no problems, no drama. And, you know, this is a great show of sportsmanship and just being a good teammate, of being willing to sacrifice your own finish to lead out a teammate. And this is what happens. This is what it looks like when you sacrifice for a teammate. It looks like you may come in last. It's not really sacrificing for a teammate if you're trying to be the lead out and you're also trying to get, you know, 10th place or something, because that means you could have used a little more energy to get them as high as possible. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll try to get some more videos out.